Cool. All right. All right, so I'm going to get started. So let me just make sure we got no people hanging out in the waiting room. Um, Great. All right. So I'm going to be getting started. And today I was going to be going over designs and commands, specifically how you can build out something in literally 5 minutes. And the way that we can do that, if we go here and I click my little red KW button, there's an applet in here called Designs. And that's basically what I'm going to be working in primarily today. I may dabble with campaigns for a little while just to show you how those designs can translate into campaigns. But for the most part, we're going to be working in designs. I'm going to show you how you can build out things like flyers, graphics for your social media, or even things like listing presentations. Maybe not as deep as that because we want to keep it within those 5-minute designs. But let's get started. We're going to click into designs. And you're going to notice here, right now I have my design library, or they call it design templates. And this is basically where you start. So from here, you're going to notice I have some filters on the top that's going to allow me to filter those designs as I'm creating them. Now for me to create a new design, basically what I want to do is click on that button here. It's a little blue button with a plus sign in it. And what it allows me to do is it allows me to choose from a few different types of templates. Now I'll give you a warning here with emails specifically. This isn't working properly in my opinion, and I believe what they're planning on doing is revamping this completely. So right now I typically wouldn't suggest going into emails. But for design specific purposes, we're going to be focusing mainly on social and print. They did release a update not too long ago with the ability to import PDFs. So if you're somebody who has a design that maybe you created in the past that was a PDF copy of that, you can actually import that and have it redesigned into a template you can use in Command. It's pretty awesome. So to get started, I'm actually going to go ahead and we're going to work with print right now. And you're going to notice here, there's also a little box on the bottom that says import photos and text from a listing. So what that allows you to do is take a listing that would have been on the MLS and import the images. And you can also take some of that text in as well. You're going to see when I do that. So let's go ahead and click on that. Now you don't have to necessarily do that, but it's kind of like a shortcut to allow you to pull in the data for that listing pretty much instantly versus having to go in and manually typing it in later. Either way, I'm going to show you both ways you can do it. Let's go ahead and hit next. And then what's going to happen here next is it's going to slide out this listing box. And a question I get frequently from agents is, they're not seeing their listings, or it's missing some of them. You'll notice here that there's two different filters. You have all listings and then only my listings. Now, if I hit only my listings, that's going to just show my listings specifically. It looks like now what it does is it defaults to all listings, which makes it a little bit easier. So if I'm going to be doing a search and I'm going to use this property as an example, because it's always the one that pops into my head first. So we have here a listing 7004 Boulevard East. What I'm going to do, and I'll take Tracy's. We'll use hers. So I'm going to use this one as an example here. We'll hit select. And what it's going to do right now, it's going to bring me into a template library. So essentially what that allows me to do is choose from different types of categories, as you can see: listings, buyer, lead gen, business basics. I believe this is just going to be new templates if they have them. You may not have one called leadership that's mainly for just leadership. But these ones you will have. They have quite a few for promoting your KW app, as you can see. Now, let's say I want to build out something for an open house. Perhaps I'm doing an open house this weekend. I want to have a nice little flyer to be able to distribute at that open house, or I want to use it just to post into my social media, or I'm going to email that later on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down to here where it says open house, click on that, and you'll notice here that it's also broken up into categories: door hangers, flyers, and then standard postcards. What I want to do is click on where it says flyers, and we do have some flyers here. Now, if you aren't a fan of these templates specifically, what I can also suggest doing is you can go into things like for sale or just sold as an example. Let's do for sale. Now, these templates are completely customizable. So for example, if I want to use this one for an open house, I can totally do that. So let's pretend we're going to do that. We're going to use one of these. I'll use this one. Actually, you know, let's go back into open house. We'll use that one right now, and then we'll go back and do a new one. Let's choose this one here. This is your standard open house flyer. Okay. And what we're going to do from here, I'm just going to zoom in slightly so you can see the template. All these different things here that you see that I'm hovering over can be edited. So all the text, the images, the open house dates, the verbiage, even whatever you want to do, you can change it. For the purpose of the example that I'm doing, I'm not going to change too much of the text you're going to see, but let's go ahead and start building this out. So what I'm going to do first, I'm under images here, and if I go to my library, you're going to notice I have my headshot here. So there's one of two ways I can do this. I can either drag and drop this over, and you'll notice that it changes it automatically, or I can click on the image, and then there's also this little replace image box that I can also click. So you have two ways that you can rearrange the images. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change out these home images here. So the main exterior as an example. If you recall, before I even started, I clicked on use listing and details. So what that does is it brings me into a box here called KWLS. And because we selected that listing, you'll notice that the images are already auto-populated. Gives you a little bit of a head start. I mean, you can obviously go into here and do the same thing, but we already chose the listing, so it gave us that nice little head start there. And these are really awesome images. So I'm going to go ahead and we'll use one of these as my main image. That's a good one. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down here, and you'll notice that I have a couple other ones that I can also select. Now from here, I can do the same thing. Let's choose this one. And what I can also do, again, if I preferred, I can actually drag and drop. So like if I want to just drag and drop one of these in here, there you go. And then that's going to auto-populate into your template. Looks good. So we're almost done building this out. We have a few more things I want to do. First, obviously, I want to change out the text. So if we go up to the top here where it says listing details, that's going to give you some of the information about the listing. So I'm going to go ahead and just pop in that information. Again, the button that you saw here where it says replace text works exactly like the replace image button. Now this is a little bit long, so I'm going to actually cut some of it out, and I'll use the Typewriter Tool. And I'm going to cut this out, and I'll hit save. There you go. Looking good. And I saw somebody just pop in. I'm going to let them in, and good to go. Okay, so as we're kind of moving forward, you're going to notice here that I can edit the text easily by clicking on it, and just mute. By clicking on it, sorry. And we can use that button on the top that says typewriter. I like this a lot because it just allows me to go in real quickly. Like I can see, okay, this is 2 bedrooms. Looks like we have 3 full baths. I'm not going to be worried about the square footage, so I'm going to delete that. And I'll hit save. And that's going to fix that here, as you can see. Listing price, again, I can do the same exact thing. It's like $5.99. Save, there you go. Now I can also do this by double clicking on the text. I actually prefer using a typewriter. It's just a little bit quicker. So whatever you decide, you can either double click on the text or you could use typewriter. Now with one single click, you'll notice that it also gives you some of these anchor points on the sides. Also the little box here. That allows you to kind of modify how big the text is or how it's positioned on here. You also can do something like this if you wanted. Let's bring that back to normal there. There you go. So with one click, you can kind of modify the text, you know, the layout of it or the way that it's kind of proportioned, whatever. Double clicking will allow you to edit it. And again, one click and typewriter, I can do the same exact thing. So for me, it's just a little bit easier with the typewriter, but it's whatever you prefer. So for the verbiage here, we do have a little bit of verbiage. I'll populate that in here as well. There's quite a bit, so let's just kind of delete some of that. We're just going to use a short, abridged version of that for now. And again, I was using the typewriter tool to edit that, makes it a little bit easier. Now for the open house dates, we can just click on this box and we're going to edit this here. This is going to be for August. So I'll put something like August 30th, which I believe is actually this Sunday. And we're going to modify that slightly here. There we go. And we'll change the text for the time. Let's put maybe 12 to 2. That's cool. We'll use that. All right. So you see here on the template now, it's all completely changed. We're about 70% done, maybe even more. We're 80% done. The only thing I need to go ahead and change now is my text here. So this is going to be my name. Nice. Change this here as well. So this is just going to be my website, my email address, and I'll put my phone number as well. There we go. I'll hit save. So again, I'm using that typewriter tool just to make things a little bit faster. I highly recommend using that for editing the text specifically. It's just a lot easier. Now I think, you know, we have a pretty complete looking flyer. Actually, we got to change out my logo here. So I do have my logos and we're just going to drop them in here. There you go. You can also change the sizing of the logos as well if you prefer. Just made it a little bit bigger. There we go. You'll notice as I was doing that, there was like little blue lines appearing. Those are your guides. Those help you keep things proportioned or centered correctly. It's definitely a game changer for any design tools, really. It just really helps you kind of keep things in proportion, looking good, looking professional. So now we have a completed design. So we completed this flyer. What's the next step now? How do I download this? So first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to save it. So we saved it. What I want to do now is I want to go up to the top here, and I'm just going to change the name of this. We'll just say sample OH flyer B1, whatever you want to call it. You have two options here. You have a download button, and you have a share button. So what's the difference between both of them? Well, obviously, if I wanted to download this to send to somebody or put into an email or post it, I can use that download button. And we have a few options available as well. You have JPEG, PNG, and PDF. Now the difference between each of these, JPEG is more ideal for your web, and if you're going to be sending it in a text message as an example, JPEG is totally sufficient for that. PNG is more so for if you have transparencies in your graphic. So for example, if you're using a PNG file and perhaps it's a logo with no background in it, PNG allows it to save that data. And if you're working with like a website as an example, where you can have those PNGs on your website, they work better without the background, if that makes sense. Also, yeah, HQ, so high quality images. And then you have your PDFs, and those are suited for print. Now for the purpose of a flyer or a print material, of course, we can use the PDF, because maybe we want to print this somewhere, we can use the PDF. But if I'm just going to be creating a flyer that I'm going to be then I'm going to be then sending out in an email, or perhaps posting on my Facebook or Instagram, whatever, JPEG is totally fine for that. So let's go ahead and download this. I'm going to hit start. And you'll notice here that it also has a slider for the quality. So if you're looking for something that's going to be populating on the web quicker, or being able to load up quicker, you can use a lower quality file, of course. But I believe in this case, it's a pretty small file to begin with. So I'll even just put it as high. 182 kilobytes, that's pretty small. And we're going to download that. So you'll notice here there's a little cog wheel saying preparing. That's going to let me know that's preparing it to download. And here's the downloaded file. We're going to click on that just to show you what it looks like. Looks good. Or you might not be able to see it actually, because it's not sharing my window right now, but the download file is there. It looks good. I do have somebody waiting in the queue here. I'm just going to let them in. So basically what we just did was we created an open house flyer that we then downloaded as a JPEG. And what we can also do from here is, if I have my Facebook connected, I can actually take this and I could create a post around it. I'll show you that in a second. Let's go ahead and hit done. We're just going to hit done on the top.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna, let's say you're advertising an open house and you're knocking on doors and you're trying to hand out flyers, you'd recommend a PDF?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
PDF would be more suited for like a high-res print file. And that would be more suited specifically for that purpose, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, all good. So again, yeah, we created that open house flyer, came out pretty good. Now, like, let's say I want to do something similar, but I want to do it for my social media. Perhaps I just want to have a graphic specific to social media. So you can literally repeat the same process. There's a blue button here again. We'll click that. And instead of clicking on print, we can click on social. And again, I can use that import photos and text from a listing. And we'll just use the same one again as the example here. So it's 7004 Boulevard East. We'll pull this one in again. And it's going to load me into my template workspace, as you can see. Now you also notice there's a little change here. There's no templates for print. They're all social media ones. So you have your Facebook templates, you have Instagram stories. If that's your thing, you can also use Instagram story templates, LinkedIn and Twitter. In my experience, the Instagram ones, which are the square size, do kind of work across all platforms really well. If you're thinking about like what people are primarily looking at these from, they're on their phone. And the phone, when you're scrolling up and down, the squares just look better. They're more formatted specific to your screen. So that's kind of like what I suggest, especially when I'm creating graphics. I kind of think of it that way. Now,
Well, let's say you put it as your Instagram story. Would you put it, if you're trying to put this on an Instagram story?
Yeah.
Would you rather, like you said, go with the Instagram or the Instagram stories?
If you're doing one specific for the Instagram story, I do like the formatting of these, because it's going to be that portrait sized image on the story. So like these were better.
All right.
If you're doing it as just a square, I don't know if you ever posted like an image from like Instagram to a story. It typically will crop it, so it has like the bottom and top.
Like borders.
Yeah, it'll have like a border there.
Okay.
So like Instagram story ones, those are specific to Instagram stories, and these look pretty good.
Okay.
So yeah. Now let's say we're just going to be creating a graphic. We'll do just listed, or we'll use just sold. It's all good. Now, again, with all these templates, they're all kind of sectioned off into different channels: Facebook, Instagram stories, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm going to use the Instagram one as an example. And then I'm going to select one of these templates. It can be whichever one you like. I like this one, so I'll select that one. But the editing is going to be almost exactly the same. Drag and drop. As far as like the text goes, we can click on the text here, and that can also be edited with the typewriter tool. Let's leave that for now. We'll come back to that. If we go and click on the image here, we can go to KWS, and it's going to give me the images that we imported. So I'll use one of these interiors here. Looks good. Maybe I'll move this over slightly so we get more of that New York City skyline. There you go. Looks good. All right. So then what I'm going to do now is we can edit some of the text here. It says listed at $579, sold for $595. That's pretty good. But I don't necessarily have to have it like that. So if I want to edit that, perhaps I want to have some other details there. We can click on it. We can use the typewriter tool and change it however we want. I'm going to leave that for now. So we have our just sold here, sold in 14 days. That sounds pretty good. Maybe we'll put something here as well. Maybe we'll put sold, or we can say maybe UC and sold in 14 days. You'll notice that it does kind of alter the text slightly. So I'm going to just move it up a little bit here. There we go. Looks good. Cool. My logo, again, I'll just going to go ahead and pop that right over there, make it a little bit larger. Cool. There we go. So I know a question I get often is where you can find those logos or where they're located. So there is on KW Connect. I just want to go here real quickly. Under KW Connect, we have a section called Resources. And under Resources, if I go to Marketing and I go to Logos and Branding, here's where I can go and download the logos from my Market Center. So like if I just put the number of my Market Center, or if I type in the Market Center name, I can then go ahead and download that, which will become a zip folder. And that zip folder is going to contain pretty much all the high-res images, or logos rather, that I need. So you do notice here with the social media graphics specifically, there's not as much text and there's not as much editing that needs to be done. This is because with the images for whether it be Facebook or Instagram, whatever, they typically will ask you not to have a lot of text on the images. It's just the thing with how the Facebook and Instagram algorithm works. It's typically looking to create or more so display things that don't have a lot of text on them. And especially if you're going to be running any sort of advertising, like a sponsored post as an example, you definitely don't want to have a lot of text on those images. It does kind of alter how much reach you can get. So in this case, I do have my listed, sold, and I think I'm good to go with that for now. If I want to download this, I can repeat that same step, which is going into here. I can hit download, and from here I can just hit start download, and that's going to download that file onto my computer. So I am in here still. I just want to go over a couple different things that you may have noticed. The one thing you'll probably notice is on the top here, there's a few options available. You have drawing, shapes, frames, and text. Now, for drawing, you'll notice that you have a couple different things in here, like you can use it to create a square or a line. You can also use the pen tool here, which if you want to draw out like lines, like if you want to do like a line or something, you can do that with the pen tool. Works pretty well. There you go. You'll also notice here that there's rectangles, ellipses, and paths. So basically, if you want to draw out some paths, shapes, again, these are just going to be some shapes here. Frames. This is going to be like if you want to have like a kind of like a picture-in-picture type of deal. Like for example, if I use this little square, and we're just going to change the sizing of that slightly. You know, if I wanted to put like another image box here, we can go ahead and click on that, and we could then go ahead and use, little glitch here, all good. We can go in and we go with photos, and we can do something like dragging it over the image placeholder box, which right now it's not working. But that's basically how that would work. And then text, if I just want to add in any sort of text, I can also do that. In addition, I can also use that here where it says text, and I can also drag that in. Okay, so I did download this. Let's go back. So let's say with this graphic that we just created, we want to actually create a social media post with it. So how do we do that? Let's go ahead and click on the KW, and we're going to go to campaigns. And under campaigns here, we have a section called social posts. So this is where I can actually create and schedule out my social media posts in advance. So let's go ahead and say we want to create a post for today, or let's do tomorrow even. So one thing you're going to notice here is that I have a text box. We could say like open house this Sunday. Come by and check out the views, something like that. We'll say August 31st, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m., something like that. You can also pop in a little bit of an emoji there too if we wanted. We'll put a little house. There you go. So here's a couple options that we can add in. You can upload an image either from your designs, or you can upload an image directly. You can also do a video clip. Let's use the that Instagram post we just created. So here we go. We're going to select that. And you're going to notice here what it did. Once it's done, it's going to upload that image, as you can see. And it is cropped specifically for Instagram, so it does crop pretty well. We'll hit crop image. And as we're kind of moving through this, we can preview it as well, so you kind of get an idea what it's going to look like. And when we're good to go with that, we can actually hit schedule, and that's going to schedule the post out in advance, and it's going to essentially publish itself later on. And that was all by using that graphic we created within designs previously. You can do the same exact thing as well if I wanted to use a flyer. So if I wanted to use one of my flyers instead, you know, we can say something like, let's see if we have my flyer. Or I think in this case, it's actually using just the social media graphics, but I could also do this. Ooh, let's go back actually, sorry. And go to upload image, we'll hit plus. And then I do have my flyer here that I can also upload. And we're going to use the free scale. There we go, crop. And then it's going to have two of those images here now. This will appear different on the actual post, but just so you get an idea. And then again, we can hit schedule, or we can even delete this one if we wanted. And you'll see here, there it is. And that's basically how you would set up a social media post, connecting it with a design you created within designs. pretty straightforward. Does anybody have questions or anything that they want me to go over?
How do you select which social media it's going to use?
So in this case with social posts, it only uses Facebook. You can also use Twitter, but I think for the most part, people are going to be using Facebook. So this one I have connected. You'll see here on the bottom, it says manage. And this is where I can go in and then connect the Facebook account that I want to connect. And it's already connected with my personal profile, which has my business pages. And in this case, with the business pages, you'll notice here, any of the ones that I manage, and I can select the ones that I want to have it display those social media posts on. So that's how it would work with campaigns. We go to social post again. And you can also do that here. If I click on the create social post, and then here's where I can select the images again. Crop that, and then here's the pages that I'm managing that I want to have it kind of go to. And then once you hit schedule, you're good to go. And I do have this as a class as well, as a saved video on YouTube.
Okay.
All right, so I'm kind of winding down here. Did anybody have any other questions or anything else you wanted me to go over? All right, cool. So yeah, that would probably conclude this. I do want to just quickly go over where we have these videos on YouTube. So we do have a YouTube channel here. It's called Bergen County Partners. And this is where you can find kind of like a repository of all the videos that we've been posting. And that also includes some of the classes that Hal's been doing. So you'll notice here that he's been posting some of his classes. I post up my live streams on here as well. So any of those classes that you may be looking forward to watching again, you'll be able to find them on here later on. So just wanted to give that a quick plug. If you haven't already subscribed, definitely subscribe, because there's a lot of content coming into here now. And with that, I think that concludes this. And if anybody has any additional questions, you can always feel free to reach out, and hope everybody enjoys the rest of their Monday.
Thank you. This is very helpful.
No worries. Take care. Have a good day.
You too.